All right, so hopefully yesterday you worked on writing your research questions, and your research questions should be done today. I'm not going to take those up until later this week to grade, but they should be done today. So if those are done, then you are on the timeline. If you are still struggling to get your topic, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. So as we look at our topics, these are some of the topics that we talked about as a class. We want it to be something that's arguable, okay? So you don't have to pick from this list, but this list is here if you want to use it as a jumping off point, or if you want to just take one of these topics and run with it. So like school dress code, you can pull up the school dress code on the internet and read, what is our school dress code. You can also find a lot of articles about it, about different schools and the dress code, and people who have challenged school dress codes and that sort of thing. Voting rights is really big. There's a lot of environmental issues that are really big. Other people are like, I'm going to write something that's persuasive over why a certain animal should be protected. So why we should protect the elephants, or why we should maybe play a certain instrument. Why everyone should learn to play the piano, or why everyone should learn to read music. So have a persuasive slant to your paper. That's going to be one of the requirements. The next step is going to be to write your thesis. And to write your thesis, you're going to need to very carefully read all of this information. You can write on it. This is yours to keep. Hopefully you got some good basis for writing a thesis statement last year. I know some of the activities that you did, and so you should have an idea about what a thesis is, where it goes in the paper, and that sort of thing. If you don't, then you may want to come in for tutoring for those types of things. So a thesis statement is usually one, but it can be two sentences in the opening statement of an academic essay that states the main idea of our research. Okay? The basic formula is that something plus something equals your thesis. Okay? And that may not make sense now, but you're going to keep reading, and that's going to help it make sense. This tells you what a thesis statement helps you do. I'm not going to read all this for you. Okay? This gives you example of good and bad thesis statements. Okay? So read it carefully. And then over here, this paper gets into argumentative thesis. Okay? So specific thesis to an argumentative paper. And while we're not arguing per se, it's called an argumentative paper when it's a paper that takes a side or takes a position on something, like we should save the elephants, and someone else may say, no, we should kill all the elephants, which would be very terrible. And I don't know who would say that, but someone may say that, so that's why it's argumentative. Okay, so this tells you a little bit more specifically about what goes into this type. So we are not, again, we're not writing an informational research paper. We're writing a argumentative research paper. Okay? So think about the thesis is our most important sentence. So as we get started. So this is your thesis paper worksheet. So you're going to write your research question, which hopefully you came up with yesterday. And then I had you chunk also yesterday into 3 categories your questions. So you're organizing your questions into 3 categories. Then you're going to take those questions. So if you said my who and when questions go together, you're going to write those again here. My what and why questions go together. I'm going to write those here. And then I'm going to write my how questions here. So you're going to figure out how they best go together in your thinking and write those in these sections. And then those become your categories, okay? And from these questions, then you're going to generate your thesis statement. Again, using those 2 pages to help build your learning. And this is what I want you to be working on today. This is what I want you to work on and complete.